Would the clerk please take the roll?
District 1, Barbara McQuinn.
Here.
District 2, Chuck Shaw. Here. District 3, Karen Brill.
Here.
District 4, Erica Whitfield.
Here.
District 5, Frank Barbieri.
Here.
District 6, Marcia Andrews.
Here.
District 7, Deborah Robinson, absent.
We have quorum with 6 board members present. Also joining us on the dais is our Student Council President Nolan Ursoy, Inspector General Lung Chu, General Counsel Julianne Rico, and Superintendent Dr. Donald Fenoy. I would like to remind those speaking tonight that this meeting is being transcribed in real time so that it can be viewed with closed captioning. Please speak at a reasonable pace so the transcribers can fully capture what you are saying. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Royal Palm Beach Community High School Navy Junior ROTC, who will be presenting the flag, and here to sing the national anthem is a student choir from Emerald Cove Middle School who perform under the name Cantabile. Tried that 3 times, so please stand.
Left, colors, halt, right, left, base, order, colors, ready, cut, carry, colors, ready, cut, present, colors.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Story, colors, ready, cut, right, base, forward, march, left, 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 right, left, 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 right, left, 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 right, left, left, colors, hold, forward, arm, forward, march,
Great job, everyone. Thank you. We'd like to acknowledge the principal of Royal Palm Beach High School, Dr. Jesus Armas, and the principal at Emerald Cove Middle, Dr. Regina Smith-Feeman, whose schools performed here this evening. Board members, we have 9 sets of minutes on the agenda for approval this evening. Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Shaw, seconded by Mrs. Andrews. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Items added this evening are PRD 3, P2, and P3. As to PRD 3, good cause exists due to the timeliness of pending legislation that will be discussed and to allow voices to be heard with state legislators. items added P2, job description, P3, personal addendum. Good cause exists to add these items to allow for positions to be advertised and employees to begin in their new positions as quickly as possible. Mr. Superintendent, do you have any items to withdraw?
Yes, sir. I'd like to withdraw CI1.
And any items that you are, the only item we have pulled so far this evening is LAC1. Any other board members want to pull any other items at this time? Seeing none, we didn't motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Mrs. Brill, second by Mrs. Andrews. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Do we have any disclosures or abstentions from any of the board members? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, sir. I'd like to say good evening to everyone. I'd like to start today's comments with a big thank you to the Mullins Group, a talent search firm in Delray Beach. Their philanthropic arm, the Mullins Foundation, generously donated $5,000 to the district school service department to pay off school lunch accounts balances at Watson P. Duncan Middle School and William T. Dreyer High School, with the remaining funds used to pay off negative balances for students on reduced meal plan status at Palm Beach County Schools. Thank you to the Joe Mullings and his team for your generosity in assisting our students. After School Professionals Appreciation Week is April 22nd through the 26th. After-school programs in our district provide more than supervision. They provide academic enrichment, homework help, exercise, and in many cases, evening meals for our students so they can extend their school day in a safe and nurturing environment. Thank you to the thousands of after-school professionals who we have in programs in elementary schools in the district. I know many working parents, including the Fenoy family, could not do it without your support, the support you provide. We really appreciate you. April is also Autism Awareness Month, and in honor of the month, I want to highlight one student in particular because he has really impressed me with his success in our schools and how he has overcome the challenge of autism. Michael Gorlano, a student in the autism unit at Boca Raton Community High School, earned his 200-hour certification as a yoga instructor through the yoga program at Boca High. I'm actually looking forward to maybe spending some time with him. It'd be interesting to see if he can help a 300-pound man do yoga, but I'm up for it. As a way to give back to the program that he feels gave him so much, Michael hosted a Yoga for Autism fundraiser on Friday night and raised more than $1,000 for the autism unit at Boca High. Great job, Michael. We are so impressed with your determination and your dedication to your school. Just a quick school police update. 4 more school police officers were sworn in on Friday, bringing the total number of school police officers added to our department since July to 72. I commend Chief Kitsero for his leadership and his entire team for their work in onboarding these new recruits. In addition to that is National Telecommunicators Week. We want to recognize the work of our police dispatchers who work 24 hours a day to keep us safe. At this time, I'd like all the school police officers in the room to please stand to be recognized. There we go. All right, absolutely. Thank you to the men and women of our school police department. I want to congratulate Mr. Ed Tierney, who has been appointed as the Chief of Staff for the school district. Mr. Tierney has spent most of his career in the school district of Palm Beach County serving as a teacher, an assistant principal, principal of John I. Leonard, and most recently as instructional superintendent in the Central Region. Mr. Tierney is a former Marine and a seasoned leader. I am confident that he will continue to bring the leadership to the Chief of Staff position, where he will oversee the communications department, the district legislative liaison, and serve as a support and a direct counsel to my office. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Tierney and for this accomplishment. Ed, stand up, Ed, so they can see. Ed, stand up so they can see. This is Ed Tierney, everybody. And finally, I want to embarrass but bring up Mr. Dr. Frank Rodriguez. Frank, stand up, Frank. All right. So, absolutely. Frank, come on up here. Come on. So I'm going to make Frank come up front because now he is soon to be, once his contract is negotiated, but he will be a member of the superintendent fraternity. He will be the new superintendent in Beaufort County Schools in the beautiful South Carolina, Hilton Head. Dr. Rodriguez has been with this district for over 27 years, and I know his board member and all the board members and all of his colleagues across this district are just so proud. And I've only known Frank for closely, intimately for about a year. But when I tell you this young man has been, picking my brain, and when I tell you he's so humble, and I think that community made the right choice. They made the right choice, and I am excited about another great professional out there working hard for kids. And so congratulations to you, sir, and we are here to help you as you embark on this new journey. Congratulations. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my comments for today.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Board comments? Mrs. McQuinn?
Yes. And I know that the camera will be zooming in on me, so anyone who notices the boo-boo on my forehead, I can tell you how I feel about the sunscreen issue, because yet another Mohs surgery for a basal cell on my face from being a native Floridian. So forgive me for that, but we're hoping it's somewhat covered up, but also a good lesson to all of you to see your dermatologist and wear your sunscreen. This past Saturday, it's not often that you want to do something for work on a Saturday morning, but I was invited to attend the Classroom Teachers Association Teacher Leaders. These are classroom teachers currently in our schools who are participating in leadership programs, not necessarily to be an administrator, but to be teacher leaders in their schools. This was the culminating activity from their year's work for their action research projects. Their topics were so perfect. I can't remember, I think there were 16 individual presentations, and it was fun, really, to see these teachers who are so in charge in their schools and in their classrooms to be absolutely terrified in front of their peers. It was just a really good time. But the teachers, I think maybe there were 50 in the room, and they were also supportive of each other, and that's exactly what they encourage their kids to do in their classrooms when their students are presenting. But their topics ranged from exceptional student education inclusion, chronic absenteeism of students, not teachers, involving parents in their students, in their children's education, and teacher leadership pathways. And one of the pieces that I took away was how important it is for us as a school district to remember that teachers, in order for us to want them to remain satisfied in the classroom, we need to encourage them to self-select into some leadership roles, hoping then that they will be content to stay in the school center, but grow in front of their students and make us a better district. But I have absolutely no doubt I will be sharing some of the suggestions I gave, because they had to present their research, which was more in detail what they had to turn in written-wise. But they presented their research sources, and they then looked at obviously identifying the problem, but then looking at some possible steps for improvement or for solving. And they touch obviously our curriculum, our HR. So they had some really good information. So I'm really proud of our teachers for tackling that, really for nothing but their own personal growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McQuinn. Mrs. Whitfield?
Thank you. I just wanted to take a real quick moment to mention an event that we had a couple weeks ago in Broward County that I got to participate in. A former employee of ours, Joe Sanchez, and one of our vendors now, is actually really took the Marjory Stoneman Douglas tragedy to heart. And the part that I want to say is about community service, because when he saw that tragedy happen, what he decided to do with that moment was to look around and see how he could contribute to make the world a better place from where he sat. And I think that that is something that we can all take away and really focus on when we think about community service. What he did is, from his expertise as a facilities person and building construction person, is he decided to do a safety and security summit. And we met down on April 5th at the Signature Grand in Fort Lauderdale. There were many people from the construction industry there, lots of school district personnel. We had Mr. Oswald there. Chief Kitzrow came to talk about school security from a police standpoint. We actually even had Nolan Ursoy, the only senior I knew to ask to help. So that was how he was able to contribute. And then Larry Clausen from also our facilities department came. And what was so special about the day was we really took time to talk about how we can make our schools safer from a building standpoint. It's not something that I normally work on, so it was really an interesting perspective. I actually learned a lot about something called SEPTED, which was not something I knew anything about, but now I know that I need to keep the bushes in front of my house trimmed. That's basically what I learned from that. And I think it is really an impressive thing. I want to say formally thank you to Joe Sanchez for taking on this task, and to everyone who contributed from the district to make it such a successful day. I think when we think about, as I said, community service, we just need to look at how each one of us can contribute to our community and really find the part that you can do, and then do that to the best of your ability. And I want to thank him for what he did that day, and how many people in the community are working every day to make our schools safer. I'd like to say a huge thank you to them as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Whitfield. Mrs. Brill?
Thank you. So as Dr. Fenoy mentioned, April is Autism Awareness Month. For me and for countless others, that's very special. I cannot tell you how blessed I am to have a child with autism. He changed my life and has given me more joy than words could ever express. To those of you who may hear me tonight who have a child with autism, or love a child, or know a child with autism, rejoice in them. They all have special gifts, and I promise you, they will change you. So, first of all, happy Easter and happy Passover to everybody. I want to take a moment to congratulate Coral Reef Elementary School on its amazing 20 years. Do you know that our very own Deputy Superintendent Keith Oswald was a former assistant principal of Coral Reef Elementary School? And Dr. Janice Andrews was a principal from 1999 to 2002. Congratulations, Principal Bobby Moretto. We love you. I also want to thank my former employer and mentor, Clerk and Controller Sharon Bach, for the 4th successful year of her Clerks for Arts program. Through her partnership with and support of Coniston Middle School, students' colorful paintings and decorative tiles are displayed across Palm Beach County and later auctioned off, the funds from which are donated to Coniston Middle School. Thank you again, Clerk Bach, for your unwavering support of our students. And congratulations to our very own student government representative from my one and only District 3 high school, Nolan Ursoy, this year's prom king at Park Vista Community High School's prom. It's hard to believe that graduations are around the corner. It's time to start celebrating our fabulous school district, all of our employees, our students, and their families. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. Mrs. Andrews?
Thank you, and good afternoon to everyone. It's truly a wonderful evening to congratulate Dr. Frank Rodriguez on being selected the superintendent of Beaufort County. Now, I want to take you back. I think I remember you, Frank, when you were a baby, but no, I'm going back to tell you I remember you as a teacher and an assistant principal. I remember you over there at Olympic Heights, and just I saw you grow and develop within this school district. And then I remembered you and Dr. Salzman being on call from the superintendent, and you were told to get to the Glades and improve student achievement. And Dr. Salzman was driving all the way from Boca. I don't know where you were driving from, Frank, but you were out there in the night, in the day, all the time, making it happen in the Glades. So I remember your hard work over the years, and when I heard the news last night that you had been selected to be the superintendent of Beaufort County, South Carolina, I just was so excited because I felt like I grew you up and you made it. So we're so excited for you, and I know that you will do well and you will be very successful. Now, I just returned recently from Tallahassee, working with the legislators, the Florida School Boards Association, all of us working together in Tallahassee on issues as it related to the Florida School Boards Association priorities, Palm Beach County School Board priorities, and appropriations for West Tech, trying to get that technical school built back up to where it was before. I want to give a special thank you to Rita Solnett, our local lobbyist, Ron LaFace, and his team out of Tallahassee. We all worked together during that week to be productive. And one big thing I did, Justin Katz, I think you're out there, I got a chance to spend time at the state office for FEA, and they promised they're going to do some things for West Tech. So it was a great week, and I thank everybody for working with us. We still have a lot of work to do in Tallahassee, and we've got to keep on doing what we have to do to get our point across. I'd like to honor and say congratulations to Glade Central High School junior, Patrina Vickers. She was accepted to a one-week United States Naval Academy summer session. That's a big deal. You had to apply from all over the country, and one of our Glade Central students won. I want to thank Terry McIntyre, and I want to congratulate Petriana. You're going, and you're going to make a difference, and you're going to see big things at the United States Naval Academy. And lastly, a sad note, we lost a legend here in Palm Beach County, a trailblazer, our former county commissioner, Maud Ford Lee. She was someone that made a difference here in Palm Beach County to move us into an era where we could have equity for all. Her work on the county commission and the community blazed paths for so many that have come behind her, including myself. She will truly be missed, and I know we'll be hearing more about her as we talk about her legacy and we try to live up to her legacy of equity and access for all. And at this time, I'd like to tell everyone, enjoy the Easter season. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders. Mr. Shaw?
Thank you very much. Tonight, we have a large crowd, and the reason that all of you are here is we're doing a lot of recognitions tonight for both for students and employees for the wonderful things that happen in our schools with our teachers, our administrators, our students. And congratulations to all of you, because that's really why we're here, is to support the students. And I want to give two special thank yous and congratulations to Dr. Rodriguez. I'm thrilled. I told him earlier tonight that yesterday I was calling every couple hours to check in and see what was going on, and finally found out they didn't make the decision until yesterday evening. And to Ed Tierney, the job of Chief of Staff is a major job in this district with a tremendous amount of responsibility. And I think you'll do an amazing job, so congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. So, board members, the chairman's report is attached for your record. It's also on the agenda. I'm going to briefly summarize some of the points. There's a list there of all the meetings that I've attended on your behalf as board chair since the last board meeting. I did attend the Clerks for Art student art exhibit opening with Sharon Bach and with Mrs. Brill. And one thing that she didn't mention is that the Forest Hill Culinary Academy provided the hors d'oeuvres that night for the attendees, so they did a great job. So congratulations to Forest Hill Culinary. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to speak with the county commissioners. As you all recall, I met with all 7 of them over the last several months to discuss the impact fee issue, as well as finding land for us to build schools in the area where the development's going. I'm sure all of you know by now that I spoke yesterday, and not because I spoke yesterday, but the county commissioners made a decision finally yesterday, after I think 3 or 4 years, to go ahead and approve the increase in impact fees for the schools, and the impact fee for a single-family home went from approximately $1,866 to almost $7,000, so it was about a $5,000 increase. I'd urge all my fellow board members, if you have the chance, please send a note of thank you to the county commissioners for supporting the schools. The impact fees for some of the other things they did not approve, but they did approve the school impact fee increase. I also met earlier this week with the new supervisor of elections, Wendy Link. She and I had a nice discussion about the working relationship between the school district and the supervisor's office. As all of you know, they use about 200 of our schools for polling, about 140 of our schools, I believe, for polling locations. And one of the things that I discussed with her was any possibility of removing the polling locations from the schools, especially in the 2020 election when we have concerns, our ongoing concerns with security and having so many strangers coming onto our campus. If she would remove the polling places, we wouldn't have to deal with closing the schools, and that would would loosen up the calendar a little bit. Unfortunately, Mrs. Link indicated that there are no other places in a lot of the precincts to have the polling locations. So we agreed to disagree on whether or not she was going to continue using the schools. So by law, the supervisor has the authority to use our schools upon her request. I put my notes with respect to that meeting. I gave them to the new chief of staff, Mr. Tierney, and he's agreed that he'll be contacting her to coordinate the next election when they're using our schools. At this time, I'd also like to address House Bill 7123. An emergency good cause item has been added tonight under new business. It is BRD 3, call to action. The school district of Palm Beach County opposes provisions in House Bill 7123 that would invalidate county tax referendum language approved by over 72% of the voters to explicitly exclude non-charter district schools from receiving voter-approved funds. The ballot language is actually on your screens for those of you that want to see it. Why is House Bill 7123 an issue for Palm Beach County? The HB 7123 includes language that would require voter-approved referendum funding to be shared retroactively with charter schools beginning with the upcoming school year. It disregards the school district's November 2018 ballot initiative that indicated referendum funds would be for traditional district schools only. Voters agreed to raise their taxes in support of traditional public schools, not charter schools. Charter schools already receive a proportionate share of funding from the state, including dollars allocated from the Department of Safe Schools and the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act. What is at stake for students, teachers, and schools if HB 7123 passes as written? The district would be forced to cut more than $22 million from the 2019-2020 school year budget. Initiatives related to enhancing school safety and mental health services for students, improving teacher pay, and maintaining arts programming will be jeopardized. Potentially overrides the will of Palm Beach County voters who overwhelmingly approved a ballot measure with explicit language to use their tax dollars for non-charter district schools. The following that you see on the screen is the exact language approved by the voters, and you'll see there that we were very clear when we said it was for the operational needs of non-charter district schools. It also provides that the Independent Oversight Committee would oversee the expenditure of the funds that the taxpayers are giving us. That would not be possible if the money was turned over to charter schools, because neither this board nor the Oversight Committee has jurisdiction to oversee the expenditure of those funds that we would be required to turn over if this bill passes. What can the Palm Beach County community do to help? You should contact your legislators today and tell them. This bill was filed, or came to committee yesterday. It's imperative that you get to your state senators and state house representatives as soon as possible and ask them, do not override the will of the voters in Palm Beach County, especially counties like Palm Beach, where the ballot language was explicitly stated that tax dollars were to be used for non-charter district schools. And ask them and tell them that legislation related to sharing voter-approved referendum funds with charter schools should not be retroactive. You all supported by 72% margin that the money that you agreed to raise your own taxes to give to the Palm Beach County School District was to be used for our public schools only, the traditional public schools, to increase teacher pay, to make sure we had safety concerns handled, and to bring mental health professionals into the schools. This bill would jeopardize this board's ability to carry forward the promises we made when you voted to give us the money to handle that. So there's a link on the board website. There's also a link there's There's a link on the district website. It's also attached to the agenda item tonight, so if you can find on that list, you can find who your state reps and your state House representatives are. Please take the time to contact them before they start voting on this bill to tell them that they should not override your vote, what you asked us to do with the money that you gave to us. And finally, Mr. Ursoy sits with us every month, and I checked with Mrs. Rico today, and there is no board policy that would prohibit this. So if the board is in approval from here on out, I would like to make sure that the county council president of the student councils in the county, he's the highest ranking student government official here. He's with us every month. He should be able to participate in our meetings, not only give his report, but if he has issues with respect to items that we are discussing, we should certainly get the students' perspective on that. So unless any of you have any objections from here on out, we'll allow Mr. Ursoy and his replacement next year to continue participating in our meetings. I see all the heads shaking. So, Mr. Ursoy, I know you didn't read the agenda. Probably haven't done a detailed review of the agenda tonight. But feel free to. But we'll help you out tonight. But next month, which is your last meeting on May 1st, if you would like to participate, we'll make sure that you are given the opportunity to do that. So, thank you, Mr. Superintendent. That's the end of my report. And I believe, Mrs. Andrews, you have a motion. Mrs. Brill, do you have something to say before Mrs. Andrews makes a motion?
I was just going to ask, are we allowed to ask a question in response to your comments? Ms. Rico?
That isn't really the protocol, but if it's in regard to the call to action, there is going to be an item on the agenda, so you'll have a chance to discuss it
So
then.
BRD3, we'll get to it later under new business. Mrs. Andrews?
Yes, Chair Barbieri, I'd like to ask for a point of personal privilege.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I move that we take BRD2 to ratify posthumous the proclamation for Miss Emma Speed Hall out of order, vote on the item, then present the proclamation to the family and friends.
All right, Mrs. Andrews made a motion. We have a second by Ms. Brill. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries to change the order of the agenda by a vote of 6-0. Is there, now we'll vote on the item BRD 2, I recommend the board approve and ratify the posthumous proclamation to honor and recognize Mrs. Emma Speed Hall. Motion by Ms. Brill, seconded by Mrs. Andrews. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. By Mrs. Andrews.
And at this time, I'd like to read the proclamation.
Certainly, go ahead.
The board. Proclamation of School Board of Palm Beach County, Florida. Proclamation number 1902, April 17th, 2019. The School Board of Palm Beach County, Florida wants to recognize Mrs. Emma Speed Hall, who recently passed away, and issued this proclamation. Whereas Emma Speed Hall passed away on March 4th, 2019 at the age of 99 years, and whereas Emma Speed Hall was born in Jacksonville, Florida on September 13, 1919, becoming a descendant of the West Palm Beach pioneering Speed family. And whereas Emma Speed Hall graduated from Stanton High School, governed by the Duval County Public School System, and later matriculated at Edward Waters College and Florida A&M College before graduating and receiving her degree from Bethune-Cookman College in 1946. And whereas Emma Speed Hall and her husband, Thomas Edmund Hall, a merchant marine, and their son, Bertram Hall, relocated to West Palm Beach, where she was employed by the Board of Public Instruction of Palm Beach County as an elementary school teacher. Whereas Emma Speed Hall began her first teaching assignment at the former Rodman Elementary School, a public school established for African Americans living in the Pearl City area of Boca Raton, Florida, where she worked until 1957 and then transferred to Roosevelt Elementary School in West Palm Beach. And whereas Emma Speed Hall taught at Roosevelt Elementary School until Palm Beach County schools were integrated, and at that point in history, she was reassigned to Malaluca Elementary School. And whereas Emma Speed Hall instructed at Malaluca Elementary School from 1969 until her retirement from Palm Beach County School District in 1981. And whereas Emma Speed Hall did not retire from education and educating young minds upon her departure from the Palm Beach County School District, but she commenced a 25-year teaching journey at R.J. Henley Community Christian School in Riviera Beach, Florida, ultimately retiring in 2006. Whereas Emma Speed Hall was an active and dedicated member of her church, Payne Chapel African Methodist Episcopal Church, for more than 50 years, and up until her passing, served as a loyal trustee, possessed membership with many of the church support and mission organizations. And whereas Emma Speed Hall was active in various charitable and community organizations in West Palm Beach, including Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Inc., the West Palm Beach chapter of Links Incorporated, and she was a member of the Retired Teachers of Palm Beach County. Now, therefore, the School Board of Palm Beach County, Florida proclaims that Section 1, the foregoing rituals are true, correct, and incorporated into the proclamation by this reference. Section 2, the school board wishes to honor and recognize posthumously Miss Emma Speed Hall for the many selfless and countless years of sharing valuable theoretical knowledge with young minds here in Palm Beach County. And Section 3, this proclamation shall take effect immediately this 17th day of April, 2019. It's attested by the School Board of Palm Beach County, Florida, a corporate body, public, Frank B. Barbieri, Board Chairman, Dr. Donald Fenoy II, Superintendent. And at this time, Mr. Barbieri, we do have members of her family here. We have members of her church. We have members of the community, members of her civic organizations. They're here to honor Mrs. Emma Speed Hall.
So if we want to go down to the floor, everyone, go down there. At this time, Mrs. Neka Nolan from the Communications and Engagement Department will begin the April board presentations.